But that'll do. We'll be getting this whole
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
What's up, Paul?
Is it better?
Yes.
Oh, dude. You good? I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Real.
I'm not. You're not expecting me to MC.
No, Carlos will.
It's a bit posh, isn't it?
Recording it?
Can I interest you in a fine t-shirt?
Yeah.
Triple X, right?
Right.
So, whole production team.
How's it going? Is it final?
I already did it.
Ah, cool.
Do we know the mic's coming through?
What?
Tell you what, I'll try and jump on it from my phone.
Well, yes.
Not good, not bad.
Yeah, it's working.
Yep.
All done.
But if I didn't have to do the clicks if I'd watched on a live stream.
Can we cancel and begin again and
Yes.
delete this one?
Yeah, but everyone probably just got notified.
I don't know. That whole exchange didn't go the way I expected it to. Yeah. It ended with, oh yeah, I'll get hold of you next week. We should talk.
Yep. See the quality. You see the things that you do very well is the things that we do very poorly.
So there's already one person watching.
It's you.
No. No watching. Oh, it's going. Who watching? Oh, that's me.
I was supposed to get a hold of Win like 6 months ago. I'm good. So you're AV guy now. I see you've got a very sophisticated setup.
No, he's the guy. The setup belongs to that.
Excellent. It's going for a block.
Where is the shirt? Very good. Have a seat. You know, there are more seats over there.
Come here, land.
What about mine? Well, don't sit next. He will leave. I don't know. Otherwise, it goes. That's a charge.
It's set it here. I think it's ready.
Be sure to see what I'll say. I'm going to put it recently close to
I will try to find the
Hey man, you put. Perfect. Okay. Now we're rolling.
Just for someone to introduce me. Do you have it here? That's right. The guy can, can talk this way. Yeah, we are just waiting for the guy that's the presenter, like the
MC.
MC. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw some guys in Spotify. And actually, the workshop here we sent to us, along some of the UK in Brazil.
Oh, I listened to
Oh, you live in Brazil, okay. Where about São Paulo?
like.
Oh, yeah. But I respect you because I love you. Yeah.
So where are you from?
I'm from DC.
How full beer? You might try to
You try the egg.
Yeah. It's like a very
Yeah, that's what I thought. The workshop. That's what I thought.
And I did it.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say hi.
That's what was
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this afternoon session. Great turnout. Thank you very much for everybody that showed up. Hi to all of you. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Carlos, and I'm part of the internal organizing committee of the AWS user group. If you're not aware, we have recently rebranded. We've got a brand new logo. It's amazing. Go check it out on our website. It's awsug.nz. You'll also find there how to connect with us and all the latest events and updates. And yeah, definitely go check it out. And then without any further ado, very excited to be introducing Gerard Sanz to you. And we're really looking forward to this event and your demo. Thank you very much for making the time to be with us today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Sorry, I have to jump in.
Okay, that's fine.
Anyone from Daracom? Yeah, cool. So I've been asked to ask you guys if you want to go to the toilet, please use this side. And all the guests, there are toilets here and this side. If you just walk out, first to your left, there is a guest room. You don't have to walk out to the stairs, because if you do, you need to be swiped back. So don't do that. And the housekeepings, in case of emergencies, the stairs are this. You can go through this door or the next door. If you go here, it's first to the right, and if you go here, first to your left, there are stairs. And main points are in front of the police on the other side of the street. There you go. In case of earthquakes, you can try to fight for a room underneath that desk over there, or you can just go behind against the wall. So, thank you.
There we go. Okay, that was shocking for me. That's quick. Yeah. Hilarious. Let's hope nothing like that happens. So thank you for coming on your lunch break. I hope. Oh, not good. I'm very well prepared, as you can see.
No, the thing is, the policy in AWS machines, they won't allow to put any time on your screensaver longer than 10 minutes. It doesn't matter if you try to change it, it will go back to just 10 minutes. So this is how AWS keeps us, in line. Okay, so here you can see this is the talk that I'm going to do today. As you can also see, I spend quite a lot of time in my covers. I have like some nice, sweet animations. I don't know if you are back-end or I'm front-end mostly, so I like all of these shiny effects. Very happy that you have a logo. That makes it like really cool. That's an awesome logo, by the way. So
Same curvature as AWS.
Yeah, no. Have you asked for permission?
We did, but they didn't respond, so we went anyway.
Very good. Got that recorded. Okay, so I'm Gerard Sands. I'm a developer advocate for AWS. As you can see, I have a lot of time in my hands. I do a lot of selfies. I also have a cat for all the cat lovers. Her name is Percy. I live in South England. I'm originally from Barcelona, Spain, but I lived in the UK now for more than 10 years. I'm very happy that Brexit is happening. And British people. So here, some of my gigs. I've been doing this for full-time for the last 4 or 5 years. So yeah, I don't have deadlines. I don't go to the office. And any of you can do it. I mean, it took me maybe 4 years to get where I am today. But yeah, you can travel the world just telling all the developers what to do and what not to do. You can see here there's some of the places I've been in this trip. So I'm trying to make all of this happening in one go. I wouldn't recommend it because it's beautiful around here, so I don't have much time to visit or doing anything. I just go like very fast from place to place. But yeah, I'm sure I will be back some other time. Okay. So here we are. I'm going to talk to you about AWS Amplify. Who is using AWS Amplify today? Just to know a little bit. Okay, don't be shy.
Later on a little bit.
Okay, very good. You have been in the website.
Yeah.
Looking around. Very good. Well, you can see this is an overview of what AWS Amplify covers. So it's mainly a tool to develop using native platforms and also web. If you are using any of those, we have you covered. So we have iOS and Android for native development. We also have web, and web means like all of the different options. We have Angular, React, Vue, web components. What else is in there? Well, React Native, Ionic, and vanilla JavaScript as well. There's a few things, there's a few building blocks that I want to talk about. One is the framework. This is going to be used behind any of these platforms. There's a common framework that we use. There's also developer tools, and I'm going to talk about this. It's quite important for the future of cloud development. Of course, the services, the cloud services from AWS. Maybe one thing that it's also nice to talk about is that AWS Amplify is not bind to AWS. It can be used with other cloud providers. We don't have any of these implemented, but the architecture accepts this. So you could use it for any cloud provider. In the center of it, we have the CLI, and this is the main tool that we speed up development and choose the best practices for you. If you are familiar with AWS CloudFormation, we use templates for any of the services that we leverage, so you don't have to go through that initial setup. Okay, so this is a little bit of an intro, and this slide here wants to cover what's coming, what's the future. I mean, some people is talking about this today, but I don't think we are here. I don't think we are in this full stack serverless yet. We have serverless and we have full stack, but we don't have the two together. And what do you think is the piece missing in this full stack serverless? What do you think is the piece that is missing today? Who is front-end developer here? Okay, back-end. And then the other ones, you just happen to be here. Or you were told to join us. No, but you must be back-end developers, no? Or maybe full stack. You consider yourself like full stack developers. Well, the idea is that if you develop for serverless, you probably have to be quite knowledgeable about serverless. At least for one or two services, you are quite knowledgeable. The idea of full stack serverless is that we will have the tooling to support development without you having to be an expert on the services that you want to use for your applications. And the piece that is missing is the front end. A lot of front-end developers, only you in this audience, usually they are scared about getting into serverless development because they don't know, and they see more than 165 services that are available in AWS, and they just get blocked. What will happen in the future as the tooling improves is that mostly anyone could go and attempt to develop in serverless by using the tooling similar to AWS Amplify. Okay. So as an overview, what AWS Amplify offers is a modern toolchain, which is improving constantly. We have also a set of libraries to support all of these different platforms. And we also build some UI components, so you don't have to go and build them on your own. If you wanted to build them, of course, you could go and take the AWS SDK and start building them. But the problem is always the same. You will need some, knowledge, some skill set, enough, to build those tools in a reliable way, which is probably not going to be an easy task for most of you. So how does AWS Amplify work? Well, the main core piece is the CLI. CLI is the command line interpreter, and it's going to use these commands to build any application that you want to build. So the first command is amplify init, and that's going to be something that you will get used when using AWS Amplify. That will set up the project, link it to your AWS account, and you will be ready to start coding. The next thing is you're going to choose one of the categories available, and these are giving you access to any of the services that we support natively. And then the next thing will be pushing those resources, that setup that you need locally, into the cloud. So that's going to automate a lot of the provisioning. It's going to use AWS CloudFormation to do that. And the benefit of using a CLI is that the core team has put all of the best practices within those templates. Of course, you can go ahead and build those yourself, or either use the consoles or use an SDK, but that will make it much, much easier. And also, this is some kind of a standardized way of approaching that same problem for all of these 100 and more services that you have available. Of course, you can go back to any project and change the setup, so you can adapt it or extend it in any way. And the best of using a CLI is that it gives these tools for any developer in the team. So even if you are not an advanced serverless developer, you know that you are covered when using these commands, and anything that is happening behind the scenes has been tested and supervised by the Amplify core team. So what are these categories? I mean, these categories are covering some of the services that AWS offers. And they will always follow this syntax. This is also the Amplify CLI. So it's going to be a command and then the name of the category. Today we have support for all of these categories. And they cover all of the common scenarios. So we have authorization with access to Amazon Cognito. We also have an API that covers REST and GraphQL, which is very powerful. Then we also support chatbots. So if you need to develop chatbots, this is an easy way to get it up and running. Analytics, XR. XR is a little bit tricky. Who knows what that may be? Because it's a combination of two concepts.
AR and MR combination.
Yes, it's augmented reality and virtual reality together. So you can also build those with Amazon Sumerian behind. There's also storage, Amazon Lambda support with functions, hosting, and notifications. So you can build a really nice application by using these. And the best thing is that you will get a setup that will just make it work for you. And this is the main idea. As you can see here, there's a lot of services missing, isn't it? I mean, I was talking about more than 165 services. How you can use them if they are not supported by one of these categories? Well, the bridge to any service in AWS is through Lambda functions. So there's a lot of examples of how to use that. You just need to use Lambda function as a bridge. Of course, that will require some more knowledge and skill on your side. But from a Lambda function, you can access to any of the services. We just recently announced predictions, and this is what the talk is going to be about, this translation application. And I just want to show you what it covers. So you will always run this command, and then you will go through some questions so you can decide what you need, what you don't need. So here are some of these services that we have access. And then you can imagine how it can be in the future when we are extending the capabilities of this platform. And this is just in one release. So in one release, we got access to all of these services, just in one go. And now you run the CLI and can build on top of these services. Like really easy. So the first one is translate. So that will take a text and a language, and it will translate it to another language. So any applications that require this feature can now use it very easily. The next one is maybe a little bit more interesting, and it's speaking out or text to speech. It will take a text in a language, and it will speak it out. There are a few options there that we can pick, and I'm going to demonstrate today with this talk. We also have the opposite. So the opposite will be to speak, take the speech, and then transform it into a text that you can use. And you can imagine this being used on education applications. You want to someone to, for example, do a math calculation, for kids. What's the result for this operation? And then you can speak it out, and then it will tell you if you are right or not. Things like this. It's also, of course, for voice command applications. So if you want to add voice command support to your app, it's a nice way to do it. It will just give you a text, and then that text you can link it to a feature. Recognition. This is also quite fun. So that will work with voice, it will work with images, it will work with video, and it will give you metadata on that input. I also have another demo that I can show you. which finds Keanu Reeves in pictures. Keanu Reeves is a celebrity, is an actor that you probably know from the movies. And this is a very good example to show how you can use these machine learning like advanced features in your applications just using a simple API. The next one is comprehend. And comprehend will also give you some information about any information that you pass through it. In my demo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass a text and I'm going to ask what's the main language. So if you want to take like random input from different languages and you don't want to ask the user for what language is that supposed to be, it's going to be looking into that text and giving you a language as an output. So that's also an interesting API. If you use it in the context of images or speech, it will also give you extra information with that. Okay, so these are a lot of different features. We're going to concentrate on the text ones and the translation. So let's jump into the demo. And here is kind of the environment that I built to demonstrate the different features. And I've used this phrase, is a silly phrase that you learn when learning English, like British English in Spain. And if you are not Spanish, I'm going to translate it for you. So here in the interface, I can pick the source language and the target language. So now it's the default Spanish to English. Let's see what's the translation. My tailor is rich. Of course, if you live in London, this is like very, it's on the street, it's a reality. This is probably like from very old materials. But yeah, this is what it means. My tailor is rich. So let's see how that sounds. I mean, these are all language features. Some of them are just exploratory and also learning what machine learning can do today. So I'm going to play a little bit around this. So let's see how that sounds. One feature that we have from speech to text is to pick a voice. We have like masculine and feminine voices. I also played with the speed because that's going to return me MP3. So when I play that MP3, I can change the speed and try to play with that. So this is the Spanish. I have a Spanish European, Spanish Mexican, and Spanish US. The languages supported, they are going to be extended. And this is, if you have been a customer for AWS for a bit, you know that all of these features, they are being released like in a very regular way. So you can expect more of these languages and voices being added to it. So I'm gonna, for here, probably Spanish European. We can try this one. And then we have different voices. Of course, most of the languages supported are very, very powerful around English. And then as you go to other, less popular languages, you will have less options to choose from. So here I'm going to take to pick Lucia, and let's see how that sounds.
Mi sastre es rico.
Okay, not bad, but probably you will be more familiar with English anyway. So I'm going to switch it to English, and here we have different options. We have English Australian, English British, English Indian, US, and Welsh. Probably the Welsh will be the most funny. Okay. So we have, oh wow, I never heard this name before. Okay, I hope it's not Gerard. Here, Geraint, let's see.
My tailor is rich.
Okay, so it's a little bit fine. My tailor is rich, and I am very happy about. Let's make it a little bit longer.
My tailor is rich and I am very happy about it.
Okay. Let's try Australian. This is always also funny for me. I don't know for you.
My talent is rich and I am very happy about it.
Is that sounds accurate? I mean, it's incredible how they can do this. Okay, so here I'm going to do another little game. So when I was trying this, I was thinking like, okay, what can I use? Because you need to know the language, and it's difficult to know about all of these different languages. So I thought, why not try like a mathematical? This is neutral, and it should work for any language, isn't it? So let's try English. Oh, English British is always very formal. Let's try this one.
1 + 1 = 2.
Wow, you could take your kids to this school. No? Another thing that I tried in my test is like making say like funny like millennials. What a millennial kid will say that sounds funny. Hey bro. Let's see.
Hey bro.
Hebrew, it sounds Hebrew. Okay, that's not funny enough. Let's try with numbers. This is also a really nice use case. I mean, you can use this literally tomorrow at work. You have like a big account, you want to read it out loud, and you don't know what number is that. So you give it to this API. Let's see.
10 octillion.
Oh, let's go back to British.
10 octillion.
10 octillion. It was easy, isn't it? It was obvious. So I kept doing until I break it down.
10 novendecillion.
Okay.
100 trevigentillion and 2.
I mean, this is improving at, quite. Let's see.
10 duotrigentillion and 3.
You think we will break it? I mean, how many people is working on this?
100 euroquadragentillion and 3.
It's improving every day. I think I broke it much easier in Melbourne.
1.
Okay, we broke it. Nice. So, I mean, this is also to show you that there may be some corners that are not as polished as others when you use these features. But it's always nice. I mean, you can think that having access to these features, if you had to implement these features, I mean, I don't know where to start. So it's really nice to have this available. Another thing that I want to try just to finish is this comprehend. So I have a language here. I will pick another language, let's say Portuguese, and I'm going to try to detect the language. And what that's going to do is going to take that language and come out with a language as an output, if it finds the language. So I'm going to detect the language, and that choose from the list of languages and pick Spanish, which is correct, I can tell you. Maybe if someone knows another language, we can try. Yeah. You want to try? Yeah. Let's see if it's going to pick it up. Oh, this is German. No, Dutch. It's Dutch.
That's the Dutch Afrikaans.
What is it? Okay, right. What do you think? Let's do some bets.
It's not on the list of your languages, so probably not.
Okay, let's break it. Let's see. I also covered that with the red border. I'm a genius. This is how you build strong focus applications. So if it fails, it just shows like, okay, I couldn't make it happen. But we know that Dutch is very close to German. What is different here? First, oh, this is I cannot translate this to German. But we can translate it. Oh no, no, we cannot translate it because it's not supported. Well, that's a low way to finish. So I'm going to show you a demo that was not planned, and this is using recognition on images. So I built this just for fun, and imagine you go on your day and meet someone that resembles Keanu Reeves. You take a selfie, and then you spend all day thinking, was that really Keanu Reeves or not? So I built this application to just figure it out for you. Okay. So I'm going to take like some examples. So this is one picture, a selfie. Maybe this one, for example. That happens every day to someone. So I'm going to send this, and it's looking at the different features, and it came out with the right result. So now you can go back to your friend and say, yes, I meet Keanu Reeves. Very good. Like sometimes Keanu Reeves is not like really in good shape, and it will come out like it's not Keanu Reeves. I mean, we all know that was Keanu Reeves, but it's just because it's very unkept. So what else is in here? One thing that I tried, I did few tests, and one of the tests was with a lot of people. Just trying to find the corners here. So here, one thing that I realized is that as many people as there are in the picture, it will take longer because it has to go through each of them. So here it's maybe talking a little bit more of this API. It's giving me all of the faces that it recognizes, but they must be celebrities. So if there is no one, it's probably empty. But that's the only thing. So yeah, this was a little bit of an intro of this. I'm going to show you like some code so you can see how the text features were implemented. You will see that there's not much code there. Where is it? Okay, I need to find the editor here. So let's see that code. So this is the application. I have few. I mean, probably the most boring part is all of the data from the drop-downs and matching the languages with the voices and all that is available. That's probably not so much fun, but I did that for you. And here I'm just getting the data from the form. So I use a form builder. This is Angular, by the way. And the translate, if we look at the call, it's just this call. So we have predictions, which I initialize at the beginning, and I'm using translate text through this API convert. Then I provide some information about the text and what's the source of that text. And I also provide what's the target, what's the translation targeting. And I get a promise, and I can just use that text on that output. I mean, it's super easy. I don't know what's your experience level, but I mean, this is just literally one call and a promise. Really easy. This is exactly the same to text to speech. Very similar predictions, convert. This is a different entry on this configuration object. And again, this is of course you need to know the shape of this object, but that's on the documentation. And then here I have some tricks because I was also giving you the option to speed up the rate. So I'm changing the playback rate, which actually we didn't try. Let's try that out. So here we have this normal, slow, and fast. So when we play this sound, it will just speed it up. Okay, I don't know. I mean, it was a feature nobody requested, but I felt like I could do it.
Mi sastre es rico.
Okay, well, that's all. Let me go back to the slides. I have a couple more slides to show you. So if you want to know more, I would recommend you to follow any of these people. These are all from my team, not for anything. But you have Ricardo. Ricardo is part of the tech lead, is a tech lead building AWS Amplify and other libraries. Nader is representing React and React Native. Kurt is doing React and Android. And Nikhil is also part of the development, the core team. Okay, so that was all. I had time to add some awesome last slide with the logo. So thanks a lot for joining.
Well done. Yeah, thank you very much, Gerard. So any questions for Gerard?
Does Amplify, does that replace
Yes, yes. It doesn't replace it because it's still there, but you can use it for the same reasons. So it will be able to build mobile apps and also web.
How's it charged? Is it per request? For each of us?
So the way it works, if you want to play around, you get into the free tier. You have like 1 year that you can play with any of these APIs. So it's only when you want to go more serious that you will start paying. The actual details for these services, they change. So each of them, so for example, for Translate or for text to speech, that's Poly. So Poly has its own, prices and usage limits. So then you need to figure it out what's the service behind it, and then what's your consumption. There's a tool that you can use, which is known in AWS, which takes your architecture, and then it gives you like some budget that how that will look in production. That's probably the most advanced to get some figure around how much it will cost. But otherwise, if you want to know, like, okay, how much will call for each of these calls that I do for that API, then you need to go to the service, a specific service, and then it will give you that detail. Thank you. No worries.
Is it used a lot by customers in production?
Yes, yes. What exactly? Amplify or AWS in general? Amplify, it's very used. Some of the features are more used. Maybe I cannot give you like details, but there is large customers using it. Yes.
When you find a bug, you have to ask the AWS team or the Amplify team?
Well, the way it works is very close to open source. So you will open an issue, and then someone from the core team will pick it up and then include it in the next version as they see fit. So it's very much looking like an open source project. And anything that happens around an issue. And then that issue then falls into a release.
And sometimes it's difficult to know if the program is from AWS or Amplify framework.
Usually they will find out. But I would say that there won't be an issue on the AWS service side. I mean, that would be like really, really strange. But there are issues. I mean, I'm not saying that there are not issues, but when there are issues, I mean, imagine the service has been around like for years. We are just building the APIs on top of it. It's very difficult that the service per se will have issues. I mean, an AWS service is, it's enterprise level notebooks. So it won't come, the issue won't be coming from a service in AWS. That's very rare. So it will come mostly from the implementation of some details maybe the developer is not aware of. That will be probably most probable cause. But not from the AWS services. I mean, that will be very, really rare.
Any plans to support all the languages, all the frameworks?
Oh, the framework support is, you have support from the native platform, so you have iOS and Android. And then for web, you have support for Angular, React, Vue. I think I've seen also Ionic. And I'm not sure if web components is there yet, but it will be.
Is there a public roadmap where we can see the upcoming features?
The way they are doing it right now, there's no roadmap, but they are releasing like a really high pace. So you probably only have to wait like 2 weeks before getting a new batch of features. So it's quite, I mean, looking back at this year, which I just joined the team, I can tell you that they have released a batch of new features. The ones that I showed you today these were released just a few weeks ago. And they are, incorporating like how many services. We saw like 6 services in one release. So it's quite impressive.
The question is, your code available on GitHub?
Yes, yes. Right. So I developed this code for a conference in Brazil called Brazil.js. And all the code is available. I mean, there's not much code there, as I showed you, but yeah, you have.
It's still useful to see for somebody who's interested.
Yeah, totally. It's on my GitHub. There's many, because I do a lot of workshops, there's also materials to learn like every single API, just one by one in a workshop form.
Just look up your name.
Yes, you can find anything.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you very much, Ed. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Nice career
Thanks a lot.
as well.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks, guys.
Well,